the Brown Boys. The Brown Boys. The Brown Boys. We the Brown Boys. The Brown Boys. We the Brown Boys. So let me get this video back going because he's gonna continue lying. He's gonna continue lying. How you living? Man, I'm good. I did a video about your live before, but I didn't watch the whole live. So my guy was like, man, you got to watch that entire live. They always try to make it seem like you lying or hating. But he said, man, everything that you said that Gilbert was to the Washington Wizards, pretty much Etan and Eddie said the same thing. He said about the part where you're talking about Ernie Grunfeld allowed him to get away with everything. I'm live right now, man. Can I ask you a question on live about that? So hit the link. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Just come to Kwame Brown Bus Live. No, you don't got to keep your thing off. You don't need to be on camera anyway. They just need to hear your voice. And I mean, it's up to you. You can hit me at another time or give us something now. Or do y'all want to hear it? Do y'all want me to put them on speaker? Because I don't got you on speaker right now. Let me see what the chat want. Chat, he said he can come up another time, or do y'all want him on speaker? Because he said right now he's in the car. What y'all want, chat? Oh no, they want you right now. They talk about speaker. You still can come up again. They want it. I'm gonna put it on speaker. All right. So can y'all hear him?
Y'all can hear me? Y'all can hear me?
Yep, they can hear you.
All right. What you want to know?
So I think Eddie Jordan wanted to gloss over the fact where you were trying to allude to the fact that, hey man, Kwame was really upset about something. And now I didn't come to you about it because it was personal to me. But what I was really saying in this whole thing was that his agent, Dan Fagan, was kept trying to get me to switch from Arn Tellem to Dan Fagan. He kept saying, man, Tyson got this amount. You should be getting $80 million. They shouldn't have gave you that 1-year extension. You're the #1 draft pick. MJ effed you over. This is what he's saying to me. We're going to get Gilbert Arenas to give you the ball. And for a time there, Gilbert Arenas was showing me love. I'm talking about he passing me the ball. There's games where me and Gilbert is connecting almost every play. But I remember Dan Fagan came to like Utah. And then I was like, you know what? I gotta end this shit. I gotta stop him from coming and talking to me every time we go somewhere. And so I kind of told him after that, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna stick with Arn Tellem. And I kind of told Arn, I'm like, yo, Gil is talking and saying different stuff now because I told his agent no. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that. That's the backstory of why I didn't want to go to practice. What you and Eddie didn't know. Also, I broke my hand before the draft. I broke my hand in a bar, and the Wizards covered it up. They come up with this "he got small hands" narrative, but what really happened was I was in Gainesville, Florida, on a visit, and this guy punched me in the face at a bar. And so Gilbert Arenas is telling the story now about people push me down the steps because I told this story on live before. But they push us down the steps, and then I get into a fight. I break my hand, break the 8th bone in my wrist. So I'm like, oh, shit, I'm going to the league. I went to the league. They knew about it, but I didn't tell them right away. So then once they found out about it, they're like, oh, he got small hands and all this other shit. And that's what they hid because they was trying to trade me for Elton Brand.
So I didn't know nothing about the agent and the stuff like that. But what I was talking to Coach Jordan about was so going back to that game, when afterwards you didn't come to practice. And this was the only time that me and Coach Jordan really got into it. And I was like, I felt like it was like him and Ernie and Eric Waters was pissing me off for real. And it was just like, oh, well, he's off the team. I was like, well, hold up. You didn't even ask what was going on. You ain't asked no nothing, just he's off the team. And so I'm going back and forth with them. And I'm like, well, give him a minute. So I went over there and I tried to hit you. I was like, hey, Kwame, what's going on? You know what I mean? So we went back to that. And he was like, and then that's when Coach Jordan was like, yeah, they brought you in the room and whatever. And that's what I was telling.
Nah, see, Coach Jordan really ain't telling the truth on that. They came to my house. No, so what happened was, what's the guy name? They had the red hair or the white hair, Tommy Shepard. Tommy Shepard came to my house.
He said that.
Yeah, so Tommy Shepard came to my house and somebody else came to my house. They all came to my house and they was trying to convince me. My homeboy let him in the house. I told him I wasn't coming out. This is the true story. I got all the girls that Gilbert liked. I had them all over to the house. We was partying, we was drinking, we was turning up. I already made up my mind. I couldn't go back because I broke my hand in Florida when David Stern found out about the situation. He said, he called me in the office. Anytime I ever got in trouble, I had to go to see David Stern like he was a principal. He said, you got into a fight? I was like, well, a guy hit me in the face. He said, you put yourself in that situation. I said, how did I put myself in that situation? I was just standing there. And he was like, you're the #1 draft pick. Do you understand that? I said, yeah, I'm the #1 draft pick. I said, but how did I put myself in a situation for somebody to punch me in the face? Because you was at a bar. I was like, that's where people, yeah. I was like, that's what people do. They go to bars. I was like, I just went to a bar. I didn't ask to be punched in the face. And he was like, you're the #1 draft pick. Do you understand that? And I kept saying, yeah. He was like, do you not know you can't punch anybody as the #1 draft pick? And I said, but what if they punch me first? And he said, you cannot punch somebody as the #1 draft pick. He kept asking me, do I understand that? And I kept saying, if they hit me first, I don't understand that. They kept trying to train me. And I guess they do this to everybody who play basketball, or if you're this coveted #1 draft pick, you got to turn into like a weenie dog where people can just punch you in the face and you can't do nothing about it. And I just couldn't understand that. So he told me that if I hit anybody in the NBA locker room, that he would void my contract. So I wanted no problems in the NBA locker room.
So what I was telling them, I was like, what I was telling with Coach Jordan when we was interviewing, I was like, yeah, but do you know it wasn't that because I think Ernie started the narrative that you quit. I think it was Eric, honestly, I think it was Eric Waters, but they started this narrative that you quit. And I was like, no, it was because he was mad and he didn't. So it goes kind of towards what you were saying about you didn't want to get into a fight. And I was like, yeah, he was mad at Gilbert. And he was like, this is what I was saying, Coach Jordan, when I just interviewed him, that he wanted to remove himself from that situation because if he did come there and whatever was going on with him and Gilbert, he was going to beeline right to him. So he removed himself to the situation, and that's what I remember. Now, I could be wrong, but that's what I remember of what happened.
No, that's exactly what happened because.
Okay. So I told him that. So I told Coach Jordan, I was like, no, but it's not. But this whole narrative that he quit, that's not what happened. I was like, I don't know who started that, who started saying that, but he didn't quit.
But Coach Jordan knew he knew what happened though. Gilbert Arenas, this is how he answered the question. You asked Eddie Jordan, you said, did Gilbert Arenas ever come to you and tell you not to play Kwame Brown?
Right.
And he answered the question truthfully. He said, and he worded it perfectly. He said, no player ever came to me and told me to not play somebody. That's not what Gilbert said. He said, hey, Kwame is in my way. That's what his exact words was. He said, Kwame is in my way. Kwame want the ball. He's taking up space. He ain't going to do nothing when he get the ball anyway. He's in my way. That's what he said. And so I said, now I'm in his way because I tell his agent no. And so that's when Arn Tellem said he was going to file for agent tampering if they continue talking to me. But he just did it another way by using Gilbert Arenas. So that's why Gilbert does this character assassination with me so hard, because just like now, he wants me to sign with his agency. So what does he do? He disrespect me, disrespect my channel. He wanted me to sign with his agent. What does he do? Argue with me, tell the coach that I'm in his way. And that's what Eddie Jordan don't want to say. I told Eddie Jordan, I said, y'all lost me on the team in the first place when Gilbert Arenas is allowed to rip up anything that y'all try to find him with. He cannot come to practice and you come up here and act like you're a stickler for the rules. But when it come to Gilbert Arenas, it's this, oh, you draw outside the line. That's what I'm going to do something. But Ernie Grunfeld undermining him every chance he got.
Yeah, and he said that though. He said that his issue with Ernie, because Ernie would not allow Ernie let Gilbert do whatever he wanted to do.
Exactly.
Gilbert has said that. You know what I mean? He said that.
But no, when I say that, he say I'm hating on him. I'm not hating on you. I can clearly not like you, but I'm not going to flat out lie on you. You ruined that team because you did everything you wanted to do. And it's all about Gilbert.
Yep, I mean, but that was coming from Ernie Grunfeld though. That wasn't coming from Eddie Jordan. But Eddie didn't have no say in the matter. Like literally, I used to remember, and that's what I told the story there. I was like, I remember seeing Gilbert working out, and then he would go run around somewhere in the building, and then come late for practice. I'm like, bro, what you doing? But it was just because he wanted to show that he could do it, and he knew that he had Ernie Grunfeld on his side, and he would let him do whatever he wanted to do.
Yep.
But Ernie ran that program to the ground. Like that's like the way he did that, and that whole thing with so there was so many different things that Gilbert did that people don't know before the gun incident happened.
And that's what do you want to allude to any of that, or do you want to touch on any of that? Because that's what people keep asking. Like, what does he mean? This is exactly what Kwame was talking about. He got to get an interview with Etan. Like, that boy done been to jail. He done all kind of stuff. And I'm like, why is nobody writing about this in the paper? I can say a cuss word and they'll write about it in the Washington Post. you laughing? That's a real laugh. You laughing because you know.
Right. I mean, it was a lot. Like I remember when he shot Nick with the BB gun.
He shot Nick with a BB gun. What the?
Yeah. But I'm saying there was so many, and then him and Avi had this thing where they was going back and forth. You remember Avi's story?
Yeah.
I don't know. Was you there with Avi?
I was leaving when he came there.
Okay, so him and Avi had this thing going back and forth, right? And I don't know what they just took it to. He took it to a whole other level with him. But the stuff that I was like, ain't nobody gonna say nothing to him about doing this. Like it was. But the person who I blamed for all that was Ernie, because if Ernie just said, no, you can't do this, then he wouldn't have been able to do it.
But listen, though, Etan, come on now. Now, I know you stand on man law, but this is a grown-ass man that's making...
You still got rules.
I understand. I'm definitely following you on that. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Go ahead.
Like this. So if he was playing for the Miami Heat, would Pat Riley have gone for any of that stuff?
No.
No matter what age he was.
No.
Right. So that was my problem with Ernie Grunfeld, because he made the culture with the Wizards that said Gilbert could do whatever he wants to do, but y'all got to go by these rules and these rules and these rules. I remember one time we was up there getting taped and stuff like that or whatever. Gilbert's on the corner protesting, right? Whatever he was mad about. So we about to walk over, and Ernie Grunfeld come over and look at us. He's like, well, y'all want to get a fine for being late to practice? I'm like, just us or Gilbert too? I'm looking at Gilbert sitting right there. So we just got ahead and go to practice, and Gilbert's over there doing whatever he's doing.
So wait a minute, Ernie Grunfeld was about to find all of y'all and leave Gilbert.
Like a group of us, and I don't even remember who we was coming out of the game.
That's a hell of a team there, boy. That sounds like a team.
No, but that's why when I said that I blamed Ernie Grunfeld, people were saying, why are you going to just blame him? Like, I was like, you don't understand, because he's the one that makes the rules. So people have to, that's why I said like a Pat Riley.
I get it. I 100% agree with you, but I still got to give some accountability to the person who's doing the act. And that's why.
No, but that doesn't mean that Gilbert don't have no accountability for it. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it would have not been allowed.
You're right. I 100% agree with you. And that's what my frustration came from, is because when I would point out those things, they almost took the approach of he scores a lot of points. And I'm like, what the?
That is 100%. That's why Ernie Grunfeld let him do everything, because he could score. I mean, Coach Jordan told a story when I was interviewing, when he said, remember when Gilbert got mad and he stopped shooting the ball because he said something about us to play defense. He was telling that story. But
hey, look, and the game was won. We won the game.
And we won the game. Right. But it wasn't the way that, I don't know. It was just so from the beginning, Jordan was not who Ernie Grunfeld wanted to pick as the coach.
Hold on. Say that again, please, because I said that too. What happened?
No, listen. When Eddie Poland hired Eddie Jordan before he hired Ernie Grunfeld, so it wasn't. So Eddie Jordan wasn't Ernie Grunfeld's pick, and that's right there where it all was messed up, because he didn't like him from the beginning. He didn't want him from the beginning. I don't know who he would have picked, but it wouldn't have been Eddie Jordan. So from that point on, he was never his guy. So it was always friction.
Man, that's exactly what I said. But Gilbert Arenas was able to say that I was just jealous of his career. So I'm pretty sure by you saying this, he's going to come up with a narrative. Something must be wrong with you. Are you drunk or something? I don't know. It's going to be a narrative out about you.
Gilbert said before that Ernie let him do whatever he wanted to do.
No, he may have said that to you, but when it comes to me, what he says, anything I come up with and I say about him, it's all because that I somehow am jealous of his career.
But that's even what Coach Jordan said, though. When I interviewed him, I asked him, and he said, yeah, he told a story where Antoine Jameson said to him, he was like, man, if Ernie would have just not let Gilbert do whatever he wanted to do, it could have been so. That's what Eddie Jordan told me on an interview that Antoine Jameson told him.
And I hit Gil and I said, okay, Gil, all right, without all the nonsense, without all the fluff, I know you like to do this for the internet so you can get contracts. You like to say my name and, yell and curse and call me out my name, say you're going to put a pistol to my throat. You like to say all these things. But what about Antoine Jameson? What about Etan Thomas and Coach Eddie Jordan? They don't have a reason to say all this stuff against you. Why would they say the exact same thing that I said about you? And I said, are you going to come up here for comment? He said, I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't worried about that.
Yeah.
But he get over here comment about everything else.
I thought that was kind of common knowledge by this point that everybody knew that Ernie Grunfeld let him do whatever he wanted to. I thought everybody knew that.
No, he tell these people I'm just jealous of him and his great career and all this other stuff. And I'm like, Gil, you were a jackass. Like, you could have been so much better in this league. Like, literally, if a word bus was there, it probably is you. So to have that much talent and go second round because you didn't want to work out in pre-draft camp and you said something as stupid as you want to be an international pimp, that dropped you to the second round. But you want to tell the story as if you're this guy who was a second round draft pick and just played his way into a position. No, you actually were a first round pick who fumbled the bag and ended up a second round pick. And then your behavior, putting your swaggy P on top of cars, driving them through the drive-through, doing all this stupid shit at your house with the rookies, playing games all the time, showing up late, tearing your knee up, and then bringing guns to the locker room. That's the story of a bust. And then you go get it to Orlando and your behavior sucks so bad, they sent you home. They amnestied you. So I don't know why this guy gives his opinion on basketball as if he was some basketball savant. He don't even want to play on the other end of the court. I remember when Eddie Jordan brought me in the office, he said, I know you've been through a lot. What are some of the things that I could do to help you make this game easier? I said, it would be good for you to challenge Gilbert Arenas to get up and into the pick and roll because we are weak at the point of attack on defense, and it's making our bigs have to do too much work. And he went and said that, and he tried to talk to Ernie Grunfeld about it. Ernie Grunfeld took from that like, oh, he don't want to work. And I'm like, wow, this is some crazy shit. They ask you a question, and it's your fault.
Well, you got to understand also with Ernie, everything was anybody else's fault, and he was supposed to do like what would make it easier for Gilbert. That was Ernie's position. So, like, if I remember one time him telling me, I guess Gilbert got beat. So like how Eddie Jordan liked for the 5-man on the opposite side to come all the way over and help side if that person gets beat baseline.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he wanted. He wanted the 5-man to do that. You know what I mean? So I remember Brendan being like, well, that's not my rotation. And I was like, well, I'm sitting there thinking like, well, that wasn't a rotation under Doug Collins. Doug Collins not here no more. So Eddie Jordan wants this. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it Eddie Jordan. Now, the way that Coach Jordan wanted me to do it would get me dunked on because I'm late on the rotation. I can't come all the way, but that's what he wanted, right?
Yeah.
But it was really because when Gilbert would have the man on the corner on the switch out or whatever, and the person would blow by him, it wasn't.
You say, hold on, you saying somebody blowing by somebody that gets $60 million?
Well, come on, whoever is on that court, not just Gilbert, whoever is there. But they wanted the 5-man. I'm to your point, what you're saying, that was putting too much pressure on the 5-man. They wanted the 5-man to come over and help when that person gets beat baseline, whoever that person is.
And I just didn't understand why he got offended. He asked me a legit question, and I told it from my vantage point. But I guess I had a label of a bust, so I guess they felt I didn't know basketball. But I told them.
No, it wasn't personal to you. It was just protective of Gilbert.
Okay.
So anything that was even when Coach Jordan said that we need to play defense more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about how Ernie Grunfeld was like, well, Gilbert is always scoring. He needs to be focused on scoring. He was like, yeah, but you said you wanted us to play defense, but when it's directed like towards Gilbert, then it's okay. No, he's doing just fine. Leave him alone.
So wait a minute. You mean to tell me the National Basketball Association, where we have the greatest players on earth, and we're supposed to be able to go to a park and we're supposed to just dominate people? How are we going to be able to hold that type of credibility if we're telling players they only have to play one end of the court?
That's Ernie Grunfeld doing that, but that's my point of where.
But see, wait a minute now, Etan. I think there's a lot of point guards in the league, like the point guard for Atlanta now, Trae Young. There's James Harden. There's a lot of point guards in this generation now. They only play one end of the court.
And that's true, but I can't. But I mean, I'm talking about when we was on the team with Gilbert. You know what I'm saying? So it was like seeing with him, it wasn't just a playing defense thing. It was anything that Gilbert did.
Now that's 100% facts on that.
That's including the defense.
Right.
So when he was late, if it was, not whatever it was okay if Gilbert did it from Ernie Grunfeld. And I used to see Eddie Jordan and them frustrated. You remember Tom O'Korn? O'Korn.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then they would be talking, and I'd just be over sitting there chilling, ear hustling a little bit, just listening. And they used to be so frustrated because they were like, you have to coach everybody else, and then Gilbert's to the side.
Man, goodness gracious. Hey, yo, bro, I swear to God, I said that in the little meeting. He only want to talk about one meeting. I said that. I said, man, we could be winning these games, but y'all won't tell this man to play defense. This shit is crazy.
Yeah. But that was coming straight from Ernie Grunfeld, though. That was the problem. That's why I said I blamed Ernie Grunfeld for a lot. And I don't know what his thing was with Gilbert. It was just like, I don't know. If I feel that if he would have set some boundaries for Gilbert, right? And told him no sometimes, I think that would have been better for Gilbert. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just tell somebody they could do whatever they want to do. Like that's not even good. Like I wouldn't tell anybody that. I wouldn't tell my dog that. I have a dog. I wouldn't tell my dog you do whatever. There's certain rules that dog can't do and certain things that he can do, right?
Right.
Anybody that got but he would just tell Gilbert whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. And so here's where they tried to screw me over even worse. So I tried to go to New Jersey, and because I really wanted to get with a pass first point guard. I'm trying to get to Jason Kidd. And it's allegedly every time they call Ernie Grunfeld, he telling them, I quit on the team. I'm this, I'm a drunk. That
was my problem with Ernie Grunfeld and talking back. And because I heard Eric. So I got into it with Eric. And Eric always tells the story of me, saying whatever, putting hands on whatever, but he don't ever tell what happened before that. Mm-hmm. And Eric, you know how Eric Waters would talk real like grimy about players, and I'd be like, hold up.
Yeah.
How you talk around and
he a little snitch. He was a little locker room snitch.
Oh, he definitely was a snitch. But he used to talk like he was like, you know what I mean? Like you're a player. Like, dog, you just supposed to take ankles.
Yeah, that's what they hired him to do. That's why he talked like that.
Yeah, I ain't like that. I ain't like that at all.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It was crazy.
He do that about everybody. And so the person, like, and I'll be like, y'all know he's talking about y'all all the time, right? You know what I mean? Like,
So I tell Ernie Grunfeld, I tell all of them, y'all not holding this guy accountable. This guy's agent is tampering with me. And then now I'm in his way. He don't want to pass me the ball. This is all the things he's saying. I'm like, how y'all letting him do this shit? So then Ernie Grunfeld basically telling me like, whatever, deal with it. So I'm like, man, fuck this shit. I'm like, how is this a team? If I'm coming to you and y'all asking me, what can we do to make the team better? And this guy don't have to get up into the guy all of my defensive principles, this guy get to break them. He just lay into the screen, don't got to do nothing, so he can save himself for offense while everybody else got to be in super shape and run all over and scramble while he just stand there and wait on the damn ball and didn't get all the glory if we win. And then you look at the stat sheet and find somebody to blame if you lose. And I think he started an era of finding somebody to blame basketball, where all we do is watch the stat sheet when the stat sheet don't tell you that this guy is laying into every pick and don't play defense. And I came to them with that and came to them with the situation with the agent, and they pretty much told me go fuck myself. So Gilbert Arenas come up here and say I quit on a team. With that concept out there now, knowing that
I don't know, but wait. Did Gilbert say you quit? Because I never hear him say you quit.
He just, I got Gilbert said I quit. It's a video that I can play it right now that Gilbert said I quit. So
you heard me on the thing where I told Coach Jordan, I was like, no, that's not what happened.
Exactly.
He did not quit. Like,
exactly.
I don't know who first started that. I thought it was Eric, but it could. I don't know. That's who I blame for it, but I don't know who started it. But no, I was like, that's not what happened, and that's why I brought back to remember, because me and him, I was like to Coach Jordan, I was like, remember, me and you was going back and forth about this.
Fact.
And he was like, no, I remember. I was like, yeah, all right, because that whole that he just like quit or didn't want to play. I was like, nope, I was right there. That's not what happened.
So now that we know what all was out there now, far as how Gilbert ran the team, he didn't come to practice with me saying that his agent, Dan Fagan was his agent at the time. He's not the most savory character. He's following me around, trying to get me to go to his agent. Now, all of a sudden, a guy who's up under Dan Fagan, a starting point guard in the league, is now asking a coach, telling him I'm in his way. And next thing you know, I tell Ernie Grunfeld, and then next thing you know, Gilbert say I quit the team. With all that being said, I don't look at the Washington Wizards as a team. If one player gets to do whatever they want, and then it's rules for him and rules for other, how is that a team?
I mean, unfortunately, I think that happened in different places. Like when you talk to other people, you know what I mean? About different players who are the quote unquote superstar, and they let them get away with stuff until their skills drop just one level, and then they're going to get all strict with them and stuff like that. And I have heard that before, so I don't think it was only Ernie Grunfeld that did that, but that's a whack way of being, though. It's not a recipe for success. Like, you have to hold everybody accountable, and everybody's supposed to. So if the rule is to be at the plane at 7:00, then everybody got to be at the plane at 7:00. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way that, on any level, AU, college, high school, professional, that's how it should be. It's just not the way it always is, unfortunately.
Well, I've never experienced that until Gilbert Arenas. You got to understand, you was there with MJ. MJ had a 6 a.m. breakfast club. MJ, old ass, believed in the old law. He was 40-year-old still practicing.
That's true.
So, and then I go to Kobe. Kobe's swimming at 5 a.m. He's at the gym before he helicoptered to the gym. He's there before everyone else. Kobe Bryant is in defensive slide drills. I'm like, what in the hell? This guy is sliding, playing defense. I'm like, I never seen somebody this late in the game in his career playing defensive slides. And I'm like, wait a minute, MJ did that too in training camp. Kobe did it in preseason. I'm like, why is he doing this?
MJ did.
Exactly.
So if MJ did something, Kobe did it too. But yeah, but the thing is though, Gilbert did work hard though. Like I saw him sometimes. Like
he worked hard to be an individual, and that's what.
No. I'll give you that. He worked on individual stuff, but he would be in the gym by himself at some crazy hour, but then he would not want to let anybody know that he's working out. I have no idea why he would do that, but that's what he would do. But Gilbert worked. He just didn't want to follow the rules in front of the team. So he was like, that kid back in the day that would hide the fact that he was really studying and taking his books home from school, but then let nobody know that he actually studied and did his work. Mm-hmm. That's how Gilbert was.
But is he really studying though? Gilbert reminds me of a kid that excels in one or two subjects, but then he has an F in the other one that he doesn't try at. He has an F in PE. He reminds me of that all A student that didn't want to dress out for physical education, and then he got all A's and one F.
I'll give you that. And the F was the team practices. He didn't want to, because he wanted to kind of show that he can do what he wanted to do and show that he didn't have to, and took pride in saying that I can do this, but y'all can't do this.
But that's not the thing though. Basketball is a team game.
Agree.
So you're
100%.
You're only as good as your weakest link. So if you have a man that will willingly lay into screens, willingly not carry the threat on the other end, that's not winning basketball. And people call what I'm saying hating. I came from a basketball program that was really strict in high school, and they disciplined from top to bottom, meaning that they set the program based upon, we're going to discipline the best player and make sure he did everything right. So that way everybody else know they ain't got a shot of getting out of line. Then you go to the
I hear you. I hear you, but everybody didn't do it like that.
So right. So what we're saying is basketball is supposed to be at its purest form. And I believe that the older players kept that discipline more so than the players now. They still played basketball when I first got in the league. Now these guys don't even practice. They want to load manage. The discipline is that you don't cheat the game. You're not going to be able to play 20 years because the practices are such wars that it's going to take such a toll on your body that you're out of it. And so they started caring more about the money, in my opinion.
But I think that now that you know more about health in your body, there's different things that we did back in the day that just isn't smart to do for your body for longevity, for the long term, even after you finish playing. So look at all those guys from like the 70s and the 80s, when they played, and you see how they walk now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But that's not all of them. I seen Dr. J the other day. He walking smooth as ever. I seen Akeem Olajuwon is still working out better than anybody. Robert Parrish.
But you see Kenny Smith's legs. You see Doug Collins. I can have a lot of cats that are bad with the hips and the knees and stuff like that.
But we can find that in this generation as well. But I'm talking about a style of play where you had Kerry Kittles running for layups and then running out of the other side, running out of bounds, sprinting. Like these guys are complaining about practicing. These guys are dropping and plugging on the pick and roll where the big man is just standing back in the paint while our guard is going downhill at 6'3". That's a recipe for disaster.
It's a different game. I'm sitting there like, what I'm saying? Watching these cats play, and the big men don't even rim run. They just kind of trail.
Exactly.
They want to shoot a three.
So
it's a different game.
So I don't think it's a different game. I think it's a lazier game. And I think that's what accounts for the longevity, where you don't have to play defense as a superstar. Kobe set the tone on defense. When Kobe got up and into guys, he set the tone. He believed that he had to train people in order to win championships. And the leaders today, they don't train people to win championships. They just go out and shoot the goddamn ball until they win. And if they don't, they blame their teammates.
I can't disagree with that. I mean, and that goes back to the type of training that they're doing. It's all individual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like dribble, step back, shoot. You know what I mean? Type of thing. And I'm looking forward to where it gets back to where it was, back in the day. I used to love watching like Alonzo Mourning and Ewing and all them cats battle each other, like, big men that whole era with David Robinson, and you got, Tim Duncan and them doing their thing. You got Sean Kemp. I love that era. But now, all the big men want to do is just shoot threes.
Well, I would want to shoot threes too in this era, because to me, like I said, they give these guys credit for being better scorers. I just think that they're not in shape enough to play defense. It'd be 2 months, 3 months into the season before half of these guys get in shape, because most of them act like they rappers now. And if you got guys that can shoot, why are you not showing on the pick and roll? Why are you not trapping to take the ball out of these guys' hand so that they can't just come and shoot threes?
They're not playing defense, but also remember, a lot of that stuff is, Adam Silver.
Yeah. This is a manufactured game to create better offense.
They created this.
Yeah. This is not real basketball. And I wish we get back to quit saying that. Look at the way these guys scored. They would have outscored the rest of these players. These guys would have got whipped by guys that's on the bench because most of them are not two-way players. So a guy that you bring me your guy of this era that can score, and I'll bring you a guy who averaged like 18, 19, or 17 back then, who can actually play defense and lock guys up and post up, and then they'll beat the socks off these guys in this era because these guys want to play one end of the court.
But remember also, the rules are different, so you can't even touch. It's hard to play defense without fouling right now because you can't even breathe on the dude without a foul. Like, and it looks worse when you see it in person. Like when you watch it on TV, it's like when you see it in person, you're like, man, this is whack. Like what? They're not even like what kind of basketball are they playing?
Guys just trying to run into somebody big as they is, flop up, throw the ball up, and go to the free throw line.
The flop up thing where they throw their head back and act like when they got hit. I absolutely hate that.
I'm tired of seeing that.
You just play like what? You do all of that.
And don't be a big man trying to come set a screen. Boy, they bump into you, act like you killed them.
Oh, the way they fall to the ground,
yeah,
and they lay on the floor. I mean, we sound like two old men watching, you know. but it's the truth though. It's different.
Hey, newsflash, Etan, we are two old men. I don't know what you call.
We are. We are. But yeah, well, that's what it is though, man.
And I have this argument all the time.